G'day everyone, my name's Cautious Pancake and today I'm testing out a new ultra small base design that might prove to be both the best and the worst base that I've ever done. The idea is an extension of the original Glock 9 5x5 challenge, but instead of allowing unlimited vertical building, the 5 block limitation applies there as well. So the base has to fit within a 5x5x5 area and preferably be as small as possible. The result is this ugly little cube that is slightly smaller again in a 5x5x4 dimension. Starting off with the base walkthrough, you can see that the back of the base here is 5 blocks wide, 4 blocks high, and moving around to the side, 5 blocks long. We've got the 2 electric fence posts here on the side as well, sitting up nice and high to try and avoid any zombies beating on them as they go toward the entrance. At the front of the base here, we've got our dart traps, a scaffold ladder for the wall, which will mean that we're not doing damage to our own base when shooting the zombies, and the lower layer of the wall is empty since we need the trigger plates there. Round on the other side, we've got the entrance for the zombies and the 2 other electric fences recessed into the wall again to try and ensure that zombies just walk past without doing any damage. Above, we've got an SMG turret for bird defense and the generator bank that powers the base. Coming back to the entrance, I might have gone a little overboard with the dart traps, but with 64 zombies running at nightmare speed, the idea is to get them taking damage as soon as they step inside. We've got these roof-mounted dart traps firing down, and when they get to the end of the row, each of these trigger plates will start firing double traps into the zombies as they come around the corner and get zapped by the fences. This will hold them still for some hopefully easy headshots. To get inside the base, the entrance is designed for those with the parkour skill. With the extra jump height, you can just jump up onto this little ledge and then onto the roof. Without it though, you can use frames to help you up like this, or you could just put a ladder on the outside of the wall if you don't mind going outside the 5x5 limitation. From on top of the roof, we can see this little slot here, which we'll get to in a sec, and the entrance inside is through this little hatch. This puts us into the small little combat area, with a small stepping stool here for us to stand on to get high enough to be able to repair the electric fences. With only 2 fences, they won't last a full Horde Night, and will need to be repaired at some point. Otherwise, there's just a standard fighting position here, and a plate roof with a couple of extra offset pieces to ensure that the zombies can't jump over or around to the side. There's no room for any light sources, as all of this space is the hollow section of the blocks that have been rotated outwards to give the space to fight from, so it's headlamps only. That's the base though, so let's get on with the Horde and see how it goes. Before that, let's quickly run through the setup. We've got our player level at 300, days set to 7,000, which means in the desert that's a game stage of 912. I've taken the same skills that I would for a base evaluation run, with the key skills being Penetrator for the armor reduction, some pain tolerance to ensure that the hits that we might get aren't too big, Gunslinger since I'm using the SMG, and Advanced Engineering to ensure that we get 60% of the XP for any zombies killed by either the dart traps or fences. In terms of ammo, I've got a fair bit, with 3,000 rounds of 9mm AP and 900 rounds of AP for the 44. I'll be running with Recog as well, because I'm expecting this to be a hectic Horde defense. First one through is a biker. Lots of rads as expected for max game stage. Lots of cops in this first wave. Expecting some demos as well. But I'm not sure whether they'll be in the first wave or not. As you can see, firing in little bursts. The idea being is that we hit the zombies, particularly the rads, with a few bullets. The rad remover mod will then stop the regen. The dart traps can then bring them down a little bit without us wasting the more expensive ammo. And then we can hopefully just finish them off with a few more shots. That'll get us the maxed XP and hopefully not waste much ammo. They're also lining up nicely, which means that any penetration that we get from the rounds will give us some damage on the ones behind. Now a few of the zombies as they come around the corner are crawling. Not sure what's causing that, but it does make them a little bit harder to hit. Some of them seem to be running over the corpses at the back there, or the loot bags or something, which again also isn't helping. So we want them to just stand up nice and tall and make the headshots nice and easy. Oh, 4 in a row there. Ooh, lots of cops. Let's get rid of them. We don't want any cop explosions. In a base this small, any explosion from a cop or demo is not going to have a good result for us. Trying to use any lulls in the zombies as well to get reloads in. Got a drum mag in, so it takes a little bit longer than usual. Bit of green. You could hear a cop just spit at me from outside the base then. So every now and then we do need to just check for damage and do some repairs. This is a small base sitting on dirt, so it is quite vulnerable. We just need to keep it in tip-top condition as we go. On the plus side, there's not many blocks to check for damage, given how small it is. Let's just check on our electric fences. That's half damage. The front one is fine. Back one had taken some, so looks like probably every 2 hours we're going to need to check those fences and make sure that they're going to be still from running. I imagine that if those fences either got destroyed or ran out once they hit 50 HP and they stop working, then that's going to really make a difference as to how close the zombies get to us. We are well within striking range of zombies once they get to the front, so any zombies that are standing right at that railing and aren't currently shocked by the electric fences will be having a lot of fun slapping us in the face. Gotta keep an eye on the spiders down the bottom there, especially with all the loot bags. They like to sit and hide underneath those. They can be a bit hard to spot. Okay, 2 hours in and had to repair the SMG for the first time, and we're up to 230,000 XP at midnight. And now we're out of storage space, so we're not going to be able to pick up any more loot bags because we've got nowhere to offload things. And given that I think I saw one of them had a tier 6 chainsaw, that's probably not loot that you're going to want to lose. Okay, that's 1 AM. We've just passed 350,000 XP gain, at least on this little burst of XP that has been going. I don't know when it started, whether it was right at the beginning of Horde Night or whether it was a little bit further in, but it's a pretty good one so far. You can see that the loot bags are starting to build up as well. Since we can't loot them anymore, we've run out of storage space. We've got Mo hanging from the roof there. Don't know quite how he got up there, but good all the best to you, mate. Oh, there we go. So we're halfway through this second wave. It started at midnight. Just checking again for a bit of damage. Those wall blocks have copped a bit of a beating, but otherwise we're okay. Starting to get a little bit crowded in there. Those zombies and loot bags making it a bit messy, but we're going okay. Hoping to try and loot some of these bags and stack the loot with whatever's already in my backpack, but so far there's always one unique item in there and I'm not able to get rid of the bag entirely. So that might be something that we have to work on, is loot bag management, either by working out how to pick up gear and stash it somewhere, given that we don't really have any room to put in a storage box, the same way we can't put in any lights. Another way is whether we can make a loot bag escape hatch so that they can get pushed out somehow. Not quite sure how that would work, particularly with the parameters that we're trying to keep to within the 5x5x5. On a bigger base you could set up the floor so that they fall down between the pillars. Our XP just reset. I think that was about 450,000 when that reset, so that's quite a solid chunk of XP. Just coming up on 2 AM, so we're about to hit... Oh, hang on. I heard the fence go. There we go. Let's get that back up and running. Since it is now 2 AM, and we're about to hit our new wave, which will be the third and last wave for Horde Night. Repair the SMG as well. before we get the new ones. This looks like mostly still the zombies from the last wave. Oh, we didn't have cops in the last wave, so that's new. Radmos look new. And I think I hear the groaning. There he is, of our best friend, the demo. So we're going to have to be careful with those guys. This is not a base for a demo explosion. The dart traps will go, the fences will go. Some of the concrete blocks might remain. Hopefully enough to allow us to keep fighting for a little while, but yeah, definitely aim high once the demos are coming around the corner. Or low enough, I guess. Just don't aim chest height, which is unfortunately head height for most of the other zombies, which I'm sure is not a coincidence. Hey, Fun Pimps. Actually, I don't know if it is, but it does mean when you're shooting at the headshots, it's very easy to cop those demos in the chest. Particularly with the AP rounds, they're going to go straight through and hit that chest plate. Like that. Thankfully, we got him down. And again. Oh, that's not so good. So that's exactly what I was worried about. What have we got left? The 2 entrance dart traps, maybe? Unfortunately, we've blown the side wall out, so the dart traps might not, or the entrance might not be needed, so they might not be running through those dart traps. Plus, we might have lost the trigger plates as well. We've still got power, we've still got fences, so that's going to at least make this controllable. Oh, we just got that one down. So the fences should keep the zombies at bay for the most part for us, since they're still trying to get through the melee position as the easiest way to us. We're going to have to repair blocks to the side from time to time though. Looks okay for the moment. There we go. Get them back up, because we don't want that to fail, and then they will just walk straight through. Plenty of demos in this last round, which we are now halfway through. So we've got 1 more hour to go. Let's see if we can keep things at bay. Also running a little bit low on ammo, but it is 15 minutes to go, so hopefully the last 500 rounds will get us through. Ouchie again. And hopefully the fences hold out just for 10 more minutes. How are they looking? Nope, they wouldn't have. I'm glad we checked. Alright, 7 minutes to go. I think we should be able to get there from now. It ain't a pretty one. I think we've got some work to do, but we've certainly ripped through a heck of a lot of zombies and hit I don't know how many demo chest plates. There we go. There's morning. Do a little bit of cleanup. Although there might be one more zombie out there, I think that'll do us. Popping outside. What have we got left? Not much. Not much of a base left. That demo explosion took out pretty much all of our traps, I'd say. And what they didn't got taken out by the zombies. We certainly have a lot of loot bags to pick up. And just the shell of a base left. Back wall looks okay because that was what we were repairing. Those blocks look like they were damaged from the explosion. I just walked into a cactus. Yeah. Not a bad first run, but not ideal. Now while that finished the Horde, it wasn't as clean as I'd hoped. To check if that was just a case of bad luck, and to gather the stats for XP gain and resource usage for my base evaluation, I reran the Horde Night using the day 119 and player level 113 setup from the base evaluation video. That didn't go as planned. For run 1, I had a cop explode just outside the base, destroying the fences and aborting that run. second attempt, I took a bunch of damage through the back wall, which I didn't notice because the combat area had become a kiddie's ball pit of loot bags. The zombies then also breached the combat position, resulting in death. The third run went fine until the zombies redirected to path through the back wall due to what I think was damage to the entry box. The fourth run was a long struggle, as zombies had destroyed most of the entrance again and were coming straight in through the front of the base. The combat area was again buried in loot bags, and the zombies breached the combat position since I couldn't see it to repair. The fifth and final run ended in more traditional fashion due to a poorly timed demo hit and a weapon needing repair at the worst possible moment. So that pointed at two main issues. First, the entry wasn't great, with cops exploding outside and various runs having the entrance pathing broken. And second, the loot bag pileup, caused by too many loot bags that we couldn't empty because we didn't have enough carrying capacity, meant that it was impossible to see what was going on in the base. To try and resolve both, I've made a couple of tweaks to the base. First, I added this steel wall cabinet instead of a floor block to give us somewhere to offload loot during the Horde Night, but in a way that is still somewhat protected and is unlikely to get destroyed. I then replaced the block above to still give a ledge to stand on for repairing the fences, but one that allows easier access to the cabinet underneath. That should hopefully solve the loot bag issues. For the entrance, I've added a ramp block to remove the jump up that the zombies have to do, as well as the first two dart traps and trigger plates. This should stop the zombies from crawling as they come around the corner, and also remove the chance of explosions at the entrance from cops that get hit by dart traps and then somehow get stuck. I then ran this version for Horde Night, which couldn't have gone any smoother, cruising through to 4 AM with all of the loot bags looted as the night progressed and using the occasional lulls in combat to stash gear into the floor cabinet. And while I won't get into the numbers here, I will say that this is the first base that I've had where I went up 4 levels during the base evaluation Horde Night settings. Okay, so to build one of these for yourself, start with a 5x5 grid of blocks laid out like this. From there, remove 2 blocks where the electric fences are going to go and the corner block for the entrance and replace it with a ramp. Back to cube blocks, then we can build up the corner post up to the height of 4 blocks. Then start to build out the wall. Making sure to leave a hole where the electric fences will need to go, and another block hole above it where the generator and SMG turret will sit. From there, we can move inside and start to build out the combat area. Firstly, grabbing your pole doubles, or your personal preference. For melee combat section, obviously the scaffold ladder is pretty popular at the moment, but use whatever you feel like. Above the combat section, we're just going to use a plate, as we don't need to add any protection for the zombies coming over. That's going to be on the block to the right. Here we need to grab one special block. It's the plate corner 2 wall half. Rotate it around so that it blocks off the zombie's ability to go forward into the base or left towards the dart traps. We then need another plate on the end like that. And then we can start to build out the top section with ramp blocks so that the zombies can stand tall and not crouch as they come around the corner. We need to add one scaffold ladder to shoot through. I've used the scaffold ladder since that will also stop cop spit, but you can use any block that you want to shoot through. We then need to leave the bottom section where the trigger plate's going to go. Next to it we can add in a plate block, rotate it around like so. Since we've taken out the dart traps at the entrance. Leaving those 3 for the trigger plates, we can add in some placeholder blocks for where the dart traps will go. I'm going to use the 1 meter spheres. Just so that we know where they're going to be. From there we might start to go back to the side wall, adding in 2 blocks here for the electric fences to sit on top of, and then the rest of the wall up to the roof height here, and here, and on the corner as well. I haven't put in the funky corner on this one, on the assumption that most people will probably put in ladders. Taking out the block here for the floor, we're going to replace that with our steel wall safe. Sorry, not the steel wall safe, the steel wall cabinet. And rotating it around to the top of the block so that we don't fall down. There we go. On top, we're going to put a cube half block to create the ledge for us to jump on to get out of the base, like so. And on top of that, we're going to go for the quarter cube block, which is of course labeled differently. It's the 0.25 block, like so. And then we can jump up and out. On top of that goes the hatch block, and rotate it around upside down so that it sits flush, like so. Now we can finish off the wall with a cube block next to the hatch and the half block so that we can see through to the electric fences to repair. On top of the dart traps, we can then add cube blocks to create a nice solid barrier, and then we just have the end walls to go. For these on the back wall, I like to use the 0.25 quarter blocks, simply because they're a little bit thicker and hopefully give a little less temptation for the cop to just try and spit or hit through. On the top though, we need our plate blocks for the corner so that we can rotate them around and cover off both the roof and the wall. And there you have it. Our base is complete. Actually, now that I've noticed it, we made a mistake there. If I remove that block, you won't be able to get to your fences, so we need to replace that one on the closest dart traps. Rather than with a cube block, we need to use a plate rotated around to sit on the roof. And that's our base done. So there you go, my smallest base, built inside a 5x5x4 area that also generated the most XP gained for a Horde Night, making it my best Horde base design. The trade-off is immediate catastrophic failure is always just around the corner, and Horde Night will never be relaxing inside of one of these, which also makes it my worst Horde base design. Given the very low material usage though, it could be worth having 2 of them, so that if the first fails, you can just pop out the top, jump over to the backup base, and finish the Horde Night there. So do you think this is a good design or a terrible design? Let me know in the comments below, as well as any suggestions for making it better. I feel like this is a version 1 potentially, and that it could either be a little bit smaller or a little bit more effective again. Whether you think it's good or bad, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if so, please click on the like button to give this video a boost. And if you'd like to see more videos like it in the future, please subscribe and come back for the next one. As always, thanks for watching, and happy building.